So, another one of the topics. Do black actors have to sell out to make it?
Black actors do not have to sell out to make it, but they need good stories and materials to tell. And sometimes they don't have that access. So I remember watching, recently I was watching Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and also In the Heat of the Night by Sidney Poitier. And just watching him act and the stories they were telling and the times they were telling him, I just feel like, you know, those are telling real true to life stories at the moment. Right now, I feel like people will do anything to get in the movie because there's not that many stories being told. So people want to make it versus more important stories being told. There definitely needs to be more important stories, black stories, cultural stories. So,
do they have to sell out to make it?
no, you don't have to.
Yeah, do black actors have to sell out to make it? I think in some instances they do, and in some instances they don't.
What instances do they have to sell out?
If they're working with people who want them to be a certain way to work with them, and they're willing to change who they are to work with them, then they're gonna sell out to do it.
Yeah.
You know, if the check is big enough, they'll sell out to do it, and then they're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? And then there's black actors who, you know, don't do that, and they're able to find roles, you know. But honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It seems like the only black actors I hear from are the same five in the Michael B. Jordan, Aaron Pierre, and he's kind of new. Really, Michael B. Jordan is like the new like Denzel in a way. It's not like there's like a whole
we don't have a
abundance of black male superstar actors or black female superstar. There's not a lot, so maybe they do have to sell out. I don't know what's going on with that. Why is there not? It doesn't feel like there's an abundance. Does it to you?
No, we definitely don't have abundance. I think there's a shift going on in Hollywood with old Hollywood dying versus, you know, I feel like this independent wave is about to hit. So from the established, you know, actors who've made it, Michael B. Jordan, there's not a lot. There really is not of just, right. You know, black male actors, and even on the black female like actresses, there's just not a lot. We have older, you know, legendary, call those, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, people like Taraji P. Those are already established. I'll call them established.
Yeah.
Versus people who are trying to come up today. There's not really an abundance. So, sell themselves, have to sell out to make it. They might have to actually, but I don't think they need to. I don't think they shouldn't. Yeah.
I don't think they shouldn't. You know, but people, you know, people got to do what's best for themselves. If you're a black actor and you feel like you need to sell out, you know, and, you know, promote an agenda that you don't agree with and act a certain way that you don't normally act to get roles. I mean, honestly, living in LA, I see it all the time.
What's an example of selling out? Is it putting on the dress? Is that the baseline of selling out?
Man, look, this is selling out right here. When you act like you're not black.
You gotta go more in detail. What's
so basically they'll put on this image like being this trope around, or that racism doesn't exist, or that it's all just a fantasy, right? Or like they might act like, or they just kind of do like they come in the industry one way and turn into something else. You know, I see it often, bro. Or I see them promoting things that they don't even have an affinity for previously, right? And I'm gonna just keep it totally real. I've met people in Hollywood who had no affinity for LGBTQ movements, And then all of a sudden they're trying so hard to get these roles, and their page is full of flags, full of LGBTQ flags. And then it's obvious that they're signaling, hey, I'm safe to work with. You know what I mean? So selling out, sometimes they start to signal things that they feel like Hollywood executives and, you know, producers would say, hey, he's down to work for us. There's certain signals that they use, certain language, a certain walk, a certain talk, you know, that says, hey, I'm a safe black person to work with. I do believe that, and that's real, and I see it. And here in Los Angeles, you know, I meet people, and you know, they have that vibe to them.
Yeah, who's somebody you feel like just has been themselves the whole time in Hollywood? I'm saying, obviously, we don't know these people, but
yeah, it's hard to say because I don't know them, you know. But I feel like, you know, like, I don't know Michael B. Jordan, but he seems genuine to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he seems like a genuine person. You know, I don't know him though. You know, I just know him on screen. But the films he does screams to me, I love being black.
I mean, we saw it recently with Sinners. I think that was I feel like that was a great movie.
Right, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, to me, they scream, I love being black.
We have never seen that in a while. So, haven't seen that in a while.
So to me, you know, I rock with them. Like, I don't feel like they're sellouts at all in any way. I feel like they're kind of revolutionary in the Hollywood space.
They definitely are.
They're creating space for black movies, and to me, black people are, when it comes to Hollywood, I feel like they dominate Hollywood. Those two right there dominate Hollywood, and they don't get enough credit for producing such fanfare, you know, and entertaining movies.
Yeah, on the topic of that, I think an article came out last week by Rolling Stone. Obviously, Rolling Stone's a music publication. They did their top 20, either 20 or 25 movies 2025, and a big talk about that was how Sinners wasn't on it, and people were up in arms about that because it's last year Sinners, you know, came out and it lived up to the hype, was a blockbuster success. It did so successful that people saw it multiple times, which is a sign of a good movie. People saw it 2 and 3 times. Mm-hmm. They watched it, showed somebody else. And then after the studio initial run was over, so for those who don't know, a movie comes out, it has a time frame on it, you know.
Right, and it stays in theaters.
Yeah, how long it stays in theaters and depending on how well it does, it can exceed that or keep going. Sinners did so well that after it had ran its, you know, length that it was going to be in theaters, they re-released it for another release. It was doing IMAX releases. And it's what you call like a genre blending film. They had horror, they had comedy, they had story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're telling old, you know, Black American blues stories. So Sinners was definitely an inspirational movie and a revolutionary movie, and it'll probably get talked about as time goes on more and more. And it's one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years. So for it to not make the list of top 20, was it 25? Yeah, top 20 Rolling Stone.
So the article is written by a guy named David Fear. This guy, David Fear, said Sinners, which got 2 theater rollouts back to back because of how well it did, said it wasn't in the top 20 best movies of all time. Let's see who David Fear is. Who is David Fear? David Fear, bro, this guy looks like David Fear, you look like a Nazi, right? You look dated, my boy. Like, David Fear is a senior editor and critic at Rolling Stone and the former film editor of Time Out New York. His work has been published in the New York Times Magazine, blah, blah, blah. He lives in Brooklyn. So is he from Brooklyn?
Here's what I'm going to say about this. First of all, your list is trash, brother. If Sinners is not making your top 20 movies of 2025, then what are we talking about? And past that, see, that's the thing about these critics.
He has a private Instagram account.
You got a private account, means you ain't standing up.
And the photo on the account is some like 1800s looking character of some sort.
And you know why it's on private.
Obsessive, compulsive, disorderly. So he has mental illness. So this is what the guy who wrote the article, David Fear, this is what his bio says, his Instagram bio. He's a senior editor plus film TV critic at Rolling Stone, period. Then it says obsessive, period, compulsive, period, disorderly, period. That's definitely what you were when you wrote that article, for sure. And a racist, 100%, David Fear. You know, so, but anyways,
well, Sinners definitely. So the Oscars will be out next year, March of next year. So I'm definitely seeing Sinners getting some award, definitely being nominated for many. So
he said the #1 movie was on one battle after another. Somebody must have like paid to get like each one of the top 20 was like a price slot or something. I don't know. It's just nobody was even talking about these movies like that. Like a movie, you have film critics. You have film critics who judge movies based on all this film critic stuff that film nerds love and geeks. And then you have movies that actually stand the test of time that people love in the general public. And a lot of times these are two different worlds. So
Sinners already received 7 nominations at the Golden Globe Awards, including Best Picture, Drama, and leading 17 nominations at the Critic Choice Awards. And we're not even getting to the Oscar talk. So a movie like that, like, what are we talking about?
It's either rage bait or racism.
It's probably
or they're using racism to rage bait to get views.
Yeah, maybe Rolling Stones is failing as a publication. Maybe they needed this.
Yeah, they're using Rolling Stones is using racism to rage bait to get more views and to get more talked about.
Because we shouldn't even be talking about
that. Sounds crazy. Ridiculous, but
yeah. But shout out Sinners.
Netflix, Paramount buying Warner Brothers are in a bidding war.
Oh yeah. Yep. So I think it came out last week. This has just been a bunch of stuff. I think Donald Trump even weighed in on it because he's saying it's getting to monopoly territory. So Netflix, everybody saw the news when it broke, bought Warner Brothers for $87 billion. I was going to change the TV landscape. And right now the deal is in limbo. We don't know if it's official or not, but that came out. And Paramount tried to offer some cash buyout to Warner Brothers. And right now it's just a mess. We don't know what's going to happen. So if Netflix does end up buying Warner Brothers, I mean, some people in Hollywood are scared for it. You know, that's just old Hollywood. I feel like they just scared of change. What do you think if Netflix does, able to pull off this move? What do you think?
I think it's good because then I don't have to have 1,000 subscriptions.
Yeah, it'd just be, saying we got away from cable to go to streaming. Now it might just be the new streaming might be just be in one place.
So then all the Warner movies could be available on Netflix, and I don't have to go buy HBO and blah 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 and blah blah. Just like this stuff all these subscriptions are just getting ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And we've seen Netflix with some of the things they're rolling out, live sports. They had a couple NFL games. They had the fight or something. Yeah, they had one of the fights. What do you think that means for some of their future content? Like, because they're basically positioning themselves to be like they've taken over. They're
basically turning into Cable Plus.
Yeah,
Cable Plus, where it's basically like we got all the movies and we got the your daily
news
content.
Yeah.
So and sports content. So I mean,
that's what's next. I mean, they're already rolling it out with the live. So next will probably be a 24-hour channel on Netflix, right?
Right. Like, I mean, it's going to turn back. I've seen people say, "Oh, we're going back to cable." Either way, it's just like at the end of the day, I don't care. Just like as a consumer, I don't care. Right? As a consumer, I just want less subscriptions and more options. Now, as a filmmaker, as a media person, as a artist, blah blah blah. I don't know. Does it, I guess they're playing Monopoly and they're taking over everything. But I mean, what's the saying? That's out of my pay grade. What can I do about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of levels to it. But yeah, so if right now Netflix is in talks to buy a whole Warner Brothers Studios and all the, take a look at some of the Warner Brothers properties they have.
They got Looney Tunes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they
right?
got a lot.
Looney Tunes and
So the Warner Brothers catalog includes such as DC Universe, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter,
the girl from Twilight. She said we can't tell our stories in Hollywood, but she's like a millionaire, and it's like like people in Hollywood, they get so big that they don't know how to like bootstrap, and they don't take any risks. They're like too good to like get dirty. You know, it's like they cry with money. You know, they wipe their tears with money. Oh, I can't tell my story. Oh, it's impossible for me to make it. Oh, Hollywood's there. And it's like they're wiping their tears with millions of dollars. You know, nobody wants to hear all that boo-hooing from you. You know, because there's black people on there with no money making movies left and right. You know, and nobody's crying about that. Nobody's trying to help them. Nobody's sponsoring them. So, you know, figure it out. You know, and that goes for the rest of you Hollywood geeks and squares. You know, nobody cares about what it used to be and your sad story and all that. Nobody cares about that. You know, you either can get it done or you can't.
Yeah, if you say you like the art and you like making movies, especially right now, you know what I'm saying, everybody has access and stuff. You might not have the money, but if you're gonna tell some stories, you're able to tell them. You have access. And these people have more money than
right.
Most.
These people got access. They got a whole Rolodex of people that they know that can help them do it. They got money, but then these Hollywood people just crying about how Hollywood's not hiring no more, bruh. Nobody cares about you struggling to pay your mortgage and shit, bruh. Everybody's struggling. Stop crying. I don't like all that everybody is like, people act like that's the thing. Like, you know, when you say, like, when you make something sound difficult and it's not, it's like you're talking about you're drowning in 3 feet of water.
I mean, yes, nobody's paying attention to you, a Hollywood person.
Nobody cares about tears, bro. That's just what it is. And maybe I feel this way because that's my experience, you know. But figure it out. You got connections and money. You're not. Nobody cares about all that.
So our sports people, it'd be the same if a $1 million athlete was crying about how he's not getting playing time or something.
Right.
And it's like, you know,
basically,
control what you can control.
So what makes good actors and a good actress?
What makes a good actor / actress? Definitely have to have a classic performance, classic movie. That's the baseline, and obviously some timeless stuff to go with it. That's what I got off the top. You need something timeless. That makes a good actor. So my interpretation, they don't even have to be, you know, this person who, if you could play the role well. Like I like my man Cameron's performance in Paid in Full. Like I think that was a great role, you know, because he played it well. I was in, you know what I'm saying? I believe the character. That's what I like.
Yeah, I'd say what makes a good actor or actress is just their skills. You know what I mean? Like because sometimes they don't have they haven't yet had the opportunity to make something timeless, right? So, but that doesn't make them not a good actor or actress, you know? Like, so I would just base it on what makes a good actor or actress, you know, skills, you know, being able to me, a good actor or actress knows how to take a character and make it feel like we know them personally. You know, they don't make a character feel like something unusual or something doesn't seem or something's off. A good actor or actress makes you feel like you're friends with that character or you know this character. Like, You know, you're with the character. You know, they know how to bring you into the film, into the movie, into the scene, and they know how to bring out the emotion and the story and the you know, the you know, just the whole aura of the character, you know, and they can and they're so good that they can kind of manipulate this character, right, and play with the character in a way, right, and take the character on, give it different types of swagger and different types of charisma that doesn't necessarily isn't printed on the script, right? They're not just reading a script, they're embodying a person, and then they're taking on this person's spirit. You know, it's like a spiritual thing. Like, they just know how to tap in, like, at the drop of a dime. That's what makes a good actor or actress to me.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good type.
Yeah.
What about making a movie? Like, what makes a movie like something memorable for you?
What makes a movie memorable?
Yeah.
What makes a movie memorable to me is how much emotion it brings out of me. Like, it has to bring emotion out of me. It has to make me feel something, you know, and it could either be, if it's a horror film, it has to really put fear into me. Like, if for me to remember a horror film, it needs to put fear into me. Like, as soon as I go home, I'm turning on all the lights. And I'm like, and then I call you like, bro, this shit is scary. Like, this shit is terrifying, bro. I can't
And the horror genre been in a good spot lately.
Right.
Got some good horror films lately.
Yeah. And you know, if it's a comedy, it has to be like, you know, it has to make me want to had that day, right? I want it to be like with that like, it just has to be like drop dead funny. Like, for me to make it memorable, it just has to be something that it's so impactful, whether it's comedy, horror, drama. It has to be extremely impressed on me.
Yeah.
You know, whatever they're trying to display to me. If it's The Notebook and it's romance, then it's like, you know.
You seen that movie before?
Of course I see that. Okay, so here's story time, right? So, you know, my sister had the DVD, my oldest sister, right? She had the DVD. I couldn't sleep one night. It was maybe 2, 3 in the morning, right? I was in high school, and I watch my DVDs all the time. So I'm like, man, I need something else to watch, right? So I snuck in her room, and I took her DVDs. I'm like, The Notebook, I'm gonna just watch this. What's this about? I put it in, I watched it, and I was like, wow, that's so good. I was like, wow, that was amazing. The Notebook was so good. You know, I was in high school just so like, because it made me feel, you know, in high school, and you got your girlfriend at school, you're in that, you know, that the puppy love era.
Yeah.
So, you know, it really amplified that feeling in me even more. You know what I mean? So
I'm about to watch The Notebook one of these days.
Yeah, man, it's a great movie. I think that movie is phenomenal. I love that movie. That movie's another great movie. 7 by Will Smith.
7.
Where he basically he's driving home with his fiance on PCH and gets into a car accident, right? And he kills. It's called 7 pounds, right?
7 pounds. I'm trying to think. I'm like pounds, 7.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
pounds,
7,
right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So him and his fiance, he was drinking, right? And drunk drives, kills this, you know, people in the other car, right? And then basically becomes an organ donor of some sort, right? And then kills himself and donates his organs to each person, his eyes to a guy who can't see.
Yeah. That was a heavy movie.
And that was another one of those nights I couldn't sleep, and it wasn't in my collection. I think maybe my mom or somebody or my I think it was Vanessa again, my oldest sister. Right, I took it and put it in, and I was in tears. Like, I was literally crying. Like, it was so beautiful, you know. And the soundtrack was amazing. The soundtrack on 7 Pounds was amazing. Beautiful piano style. Let me see who this guy was that did the soundtrack. The piano work in there was so phenomenal to me. Movie score, Angelo Millie. Was that the person?
This is the score.
There was a song on there that was just like put me to tears. But anyways, you know, what about you?
Memorable?
What makes you
Yeah, I gotta have impact. So I was big on sports. So one of the most impactful movies that I still go back to today is Friday Night Lights. That movie I always go back and rewatch that movie. And the town, just having a setting. My dad's from Texas, so I remember reading the book.
The town?
The town in Texas, you know what I'm saying? It has like a setting with it.
The movie The Town?
No. I'm saying the town, and it's like a character in the movie. It's so yeah. So my dad's from Texas. My dad's from Austin, Texas. So you know, anybody from Texas knows that football is like Friday night. That's it.
Oh, you said Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights. Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
So I remember watching that movie. I read the book, and watching that movie, they just did a good job with it. You know, playing sports. I just felt it was a real sports story. Mm-hmm. It had a real struggle story. You know, one of the characters, Booby Ma, he ends up getting hurt. Like, that's all he thought about was football, and he ended up getting hurt. And, you know, that was it. It wasn't he gets better and comes back. Like, no, he got hurt, and that, you know, curtailed his career. And that's what happened. So it definitely has to be real. And I like authentics. And I like movies with good twists. I like that, too.
Yeah.
Like Usual Suspect. I remember watching that for the first time. I thought that movie was cold. Because they did a little to Kaiser Sosak. So, yeah, I like good pacing. Let me ask you this. Does somebody have to die for it to be a good movie?
No.
Okay. What's a good movie that nobody died?
The Notebook.
Nobody died in The Notebook? Okay. All right. I just want to know that question.
They didn't die necessarily, but they kind of died with dementia, to Alzheimer's.
Ooh, that's true. Okay,
so I ain't seen it. They didn't die. They were alive, but they didn't know.
Oh, they didn't know.
They lost. Their mind was gone. They couldn't remember anything. So he's retelling their story back to them, and you're watching the movie. You're watching their romance from start to finish through him trying to remind his wife who she is and who they are.
Damn, that's deep.
Yeah.
So damn near technically.
It's kind of like a death.
That is. So no, that lives up to my. Cause I had this thing. I'm like, the people have to die for it. So I'm gonna have to watch The Notebook then. Shout out The Notebook. All right, so let me read this article. So we have Disney. I think this just dropped. So everybody's on the AI wave. Disney has invested $1 billion. Yes, you heard that correct. $1 billion into OpenAI Sora over a multi-year agreement to bring more than 200 iconic characters to AI's company Sora platform. So. I mean, they say, man, if you're not joining AI, you're finna get left behind. So,
yeah, you know, they're investing into AI. You know, or I heard that they were letting Sora use their likenesses to create AI work.
Yeah.
You know, so they're
in business with
they're licensing out their, you know.
Their
characters, their, you know, what do you call that?
Likeness?
Not likeness, but, you know, their
IP, intellectual property.
Their property, you know, to be able to, you know, use it. And so
we'll see what comes about of that. I mean,
AI to me, like, as far as like, you know, creating people and stuff like that, it's still cheesy.
Yeah,
still looks cheesy.
But with characters, it's already created anyway. So I mean, it might be.
But you know, movies are gonna go the AI route. Like I still feel like we're gonna see movies like a movie like Tupac featuring Michael Jackson and blah 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 blah, and it's gonna be like, you know,
they make it good enough,
right? So that's the, you know, that's where this stuff is going. Yeah.
So yeah, Disney, you know, spending billions. I got a thing on here about, do you think Hollywood, you know, Hollywood's a business at the end of the day. It's a movie business. Do you think Hollywood cares to be creative, or do you think they just care about just the business aspect? Because you see a lot of sequels and, you know, them doing basically just like data to see what works and what doesn't. Like, do you think they care about trying new things, or are they just gonna go with proven things? Because, you know, they do testing for movies. They do all these things that before they even hit the screen. Before they even make a theatrical run, they have to do all this movie testing with this audience and these people. So do you
Right.
think they care about creativity, or you think it's just a business at the end of the day?
I think that major Hollywood, entities care more about business, and I think that's because I think this happens basically in all sectors of business. Is it starts off pure, and it starts off from a place of creativity and exploration and a place of genuine type of boundary pushing, and then eventually you get people who are just looking for a good job, and they're capitalists, and they just want to do a good job on paper, right? And they're not creative. They're just kind of NPCs, right? They're just people with jobs.
Facts.
And basically they curtail the creativity in respects to what's on paper, what looks like it's going to make the most money based on analytics, and they use data, and they're not creative people. They're just NPCs. So Hollywood's controlled by NPCs. They don't care about creativity. They recycle, they recycle ideas from bro, these people are super, bro, these are just like 9-to-5 job. I'm a CEO. It'll be the CEO of a company these days will be like the CEO of Coca-Cola, and then next year the CEO of Chipotle. And it's like, bro, do you like you're just like you have no alliance. You're just a NPC jumping from job to job, from one executive position to the next. You have no skin in the game on any of these things. You don't care, right? It's just these people just hold positions to make money, and basically.
Nah, I definitely agree, because we can end it right here with this. So it's a little thing I read about, and y'all can help me out in the audience if y'all know the real history. I just started reading about this. So the movie Lion King, which is a part of the Disney, universe. Lion King came out in 1994. Production company, Walt Disney Company. But they're saying that a Japanese show called Kimba, the White Lion, was a series back in the early 50s, 60s. And they're saying they basically, the Lion King just ripped it from them.
I heard they did that with Power Rangers, but I didn't look into this stuff to know for real.
So let me read about this real quick. So let's give a little quick plot. Okay, so written by Osamu Tezuka, production company, Mushi Production. In Africa during the mid 20th century, humankind approaches the white lion. Caesar gives the jungle's wildest animals a safe haven. So they're already using the Africa back then. So, damn.
I don't know. Either way, it just is what it is. That's the operation of, business, corporate world. If these people steal, kill, and take.
Yeah, so here's what happened. So it was a film, and then the series is a television film. So, dang, Hollywood might have stole Lion King. All right, did not know that.
What else did they? Of course, they could have. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I got though. So.